We all experience those moments when negative thoughts start creeping in, planting seeds of doubt and insecurity in our minds. The nagging voice that questions our abilities, worth, and decisions can be incredibly disruptive, impacting all aspects of our lives. If left unchecked, these mental patterns can spiral into anxiety, lack of motivation, and even depression. I know this struggle all too well. There were times when I felt consumed by negative self-talk and crippling self-doubt. It was a constant battle to silence the inner critic and regain my confidence. But then, I discovered the profound teachings of Stoicism. This ancient Greek philosophy provided me with powerful strategies to overcome these challenges. As Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wisely stated, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." This realization was transformative for me. I began to understand that my negative thoughts were not facts, but mere interpretations that I had the power to change. So what is the purpose of our journey today? It is to share the timeless Stoic principles to help you deal effectively with negative thoughts and self-doubt. By the end of this exploration, you will be equipped with practical tools and insights to confront these inner battles head-on, reclaiming your inner peace and confidence. But this is not a passive experience. Stay engaged, reflect on these lessons, and actively apply them daily. True transformation occurs through knowledge, consistent action, and practice. With that, let us begin our exploration of the Stoic way of overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt, guided by the wise words of Marcus Aurelius. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Understanding negative thoughts and self-doubt. We must first understand their nature and impact to deal with negative thoughts and self-doubt. As Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, wisely stated, "It is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things." Negative thoughts are not inherently bad or wrong. Our minds create interpretations based on our experiences, beliefs, and conditioning. However, when left unchecked, these thoughts can spiral, distorting our perception of reality and undermining our sense of self-worth. For instance, consider a situation where you made a mistake at work. A negative thought might arise, such as, "I'm so incompetent, I'll never succeed in this job." This thought, however, is not a fact, but a judgment colored by self-doubt and harsh self-criticism. The impact of such negative self-talk can be far-reaching. It can affect our motivation, decision-making, and overall well-being. As Marcus Aurelius cautioned, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Persistent negative thoughts can drain our energy, cloud judgment, and influence our physical health. Now, let's engage in a brief exercise. Take a moment to reflect on a recent negative thought or moment of self-doubt that you experienced. Please write it down or make a mental note of it. We will revisit this later in our exploration. Understanding negative thoughts' nature and potential consequences enables us to approach them more objectively. We can recognize them as mere interpretations, not absolute truths, and work towards reframing them more constructively. Remember, as Epictetus taught, it is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things. With this awareness, we can break free from negative thoughts and self-doubt, paving the way for a more empowered and fulfilling life. Changing your perspective. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the idea that our thoughts shape our reality. Epictetus wisely stated, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." This profound insight holds the key to overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt. By changing our perspective, we can transform our experience. Let's revisit the example from the previous chapter where you made a mistake at work and a negative thought arose, labeling you as incompetent and doubting your ability to succeed. This thought is not a fact, but a subjective interpretation, colored by self-doubt and harsh self-criticism. The Stoics would encourage us to reframe this thought by adopting a more objective and rational perspective. Instead of criticizing ourselves, we could view the mistake as a learning opportunity to identify areas for improvement and growth. We could remind ourselves that mistakes are an inevitable part of the human experience, and that even the most accomplished individuals have faced setbacks and failures throughout their journeys. By reframing our perspective, we can transform a negative thought into a constructive one, shifting our mindset from self-doubt to self-compassion and resilience. But the Stoics didn't just preach theoretical ideas. They offered practical wisdom rooted in real-life examples. One such example comes from the life of Seneca, the famous Stoic philosopher and advisor to the Roman Emperor Nero. In one of his letters, Seneca recounts a story of a friend deeply troubled by a nightmarish vision he had experienced. Seneca advised his friend to focus on reality rather than being consumed by his imagination, saying, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Like Seneca's friend, we often allow our negative thoughts and fears to spiral out of control, creating imagined scenarios that cause unnecessary suffering. By grounding ourselves in reality and adopting a more objective perspective, we can break free from the grip of these distorted thoughts. Here's a practical step-by-step guide to help you reframe a negative thought. 1. Identify the negative thoughts or self-doubt. Write it down or make a mental note. 2. Examine the evidence. Is this thought based on facts or assumptions? Are there alternative perspectives you still need to consider? 3. Challenge the thought. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Or would I say this to a loved one in a similar situation? 4. Reframe the thought. Replace the negative thought with a more constructive, rational interpretation that aligns with your values and goals. 5. Repeat the reframed thought. Reinforce the new perspective by repeating it to yourself or writing it down. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. By actively practicing reframing our perspective, we can gradually rewire our thought patterns, cultivating a more resilient and empowered mindset. It takes consistent effort, but the rewards are immense. A greater sense of inner peace, self-confidence, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and grace. Focus on what you can control. One of the core tenets of Stoic philosophy is the principle of focusing our energy and attention on what we can control, rather than wasting time and energy agonizing over things beyond our influence. Epictetus famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle is compelling when dealing with negative thoughts and self-doubt. While we cannot always control the initial thoughts that arise, we can control how we respond to them. Do we allow them to spiral, fueling our self-doubt and anxiety? Or do we consciously shift our focus to what is within our control? Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you've been passed over for a promotion at work, and feelings of self-doubt and negative thoughts begin to surface. I'm not good enough. I'll never advance in this company. I'm a failure. While it's understandable to feel disappointed, dwelling on these negative thoughts and ruminating over the situation will only breed more negativity and disempowerment. Instead, the Stoic approach would focus on what you can control: your reaction, your mindset, and your next steps. You might reframe the situation by acknowledging that while the outcome was not what you hoped for, it does not define your worth or capabilities. You can respond with resilience, using the experience as motivation to identify areas for growth and development. Additionally, you can focus on what is within your control, such as updating your skills, seeking feedback from mentors, or exploring new opportunities within or outside the company. This principle is exemplified in Epictetus's life. Born into slavery, he faced numerous challenges and adversities beyond his control. However, he focused his energy on what was within his power, his mindset, actions, and his response to circumstances. In one of his famous teachings, Epictetus emphasized, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." By embracing this wisdom, we can avoid becoming consumed by negative thoughts and self-doubt from situations we cannot control. Instead, we can focus on our sphere of influence, taking constructive action and maintaining a positive, empowered mindset. To put this principle into practice, I invite you to pause and reflect on a current worry or concern causing you distress. Identify the aspects of the situation within your control and separate them from the factors beyond your influence. By consciously shifting your focus to what you can control, you'll find it easier to let go of negative thoughts and self-doubt surrounding the uncontrollable elements. This simple yet profound practice can cultivate inner peace, resilience, and empowerment in facing life's challenges. Remember, as Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By embracing this Stoic wisdom, you can reclaim your power and navigate life's ups and downs with grace and composure. Building resilience through Stoic practices. Thus far, we've discussed powerful Stoic principles for reframing negative thoughts, focusing on what's within our control and cultivating an empowered mindset. However, the Stoics understood that lasting inner transformation requires more than intellectual understanding. It demands consistent practice and cultivation of specific mental habits. One such practice is the Stoic concept of negative visualization, which may seem counterintuitive at first glance. As Epictetus wisely stated, no great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Negative visualization involves contemplating potential adverse scenarios or misfortunes that could befall us. It may sound like a recipe for pessimism. Still, the Stoics saw it as a tool to cultivate gratitude, resilience, and a deeper appreciation for the present moment. By mentally preparing for challenges and setbacks, we become less shocked and overwhelmed when they inevitably occur. Additionally, it helps us cherish our good things rather than take them for granted. Let's engage in a brief exercise to experience the power of this practice. Close your eyes and imagine losing something truly valuable to you: a possession, a relationship, or even your health. Allow yourself to feel the weight of that potential loss fully. Notice how this exercise can heighten your gratitude for what you currently have and instill a sense of humble appreciation for the temporary nature of all things. The Stoics understood that by regularly practicing negative visualization, we could develop a kind of emotional immunity, a resilience that allows us to weather life's storms with poise and grace. Marcus Aurelius, the mighty Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, embodied this principle. Despite facing numerous personal losses and challenges, including the untimely deaths of several children and a devastating plague that ravaged his empire, Marcus Aurelius maintained his composure. He continued to govern with wisdom and compassion. He wrote in his famous Meditations, "How ridiculous and unrealistic is the man who is astonished at anything that happens in life." By embracing the Stoic practice of negative visualization, Marcus Aurelius cultivated a profound sense of resilience and acceptance, allowing him to navigate even the most harrowing circumstances with grace and poise. As we continue our journey towards overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt, practices like negative visualization can serve as powerful tools to fortify our mental and emotional resilience. By regularly reminding ourselves of the impermanence of all things and mentally preparing for potential adversities, we can cultivate a sense of humble gratitude and develop the inner strength to face life's challenges with courage and wisdom. Remember, as Epictetus taught, no great thing is created suddenly. Building resilience is a gradual process that requires consistent practice and dedication. But by embracing the Stoic practices, we can steadily cultivate the inner resources to overcome negative thoughts, self-doubt, and any obstacles that may arise. Surrounding yourself with positivity. While the Stoic teachings emphasize cultivating inner resilience and self-mastery, the ancient philosophers recognized our social environment's profound impact on our mental and emotional well-being. As Epictetus wisely advised, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. The people we surround ourselves with can fuel our negative thought patterns and self-doubt, or inspire us to rise above them. Their words, attitudes, and energy can drag us down or elevate us to new heights of confidence and self-assurance. Think about the individuals in your life who consistently radiate positivity, encouragement, and belief in your potential. Perhaps it's a close friend, a mentor, or a family member who has consistently supported and uplifted you, even during your darkest moments of self-doubt. Now, contrast that with the people in your life who seem to perpetuate your negative thought patterns. They might quickly criticize, doubt your abilities, or project their insecurities onto you. The Stoics understood that limiting exposure to negative influences and intentionally cultivating uplifting relationships could profoundly impact our mental and emotional state. Consider the example of Monkey D. Luffy from the anime One Piece. Luffy's journey to becoming the Pirate King is significantly influenced by the positive and supportive friends he surrounds himself with. Early in his quest, Luffy gathers a diverse crew of individuals who believe in his dream and support him through every challenge and setback. Characters like Zoro, Nami, Sanji, and Chopper contribute their strengths and unwavering belief in Luffy, encouraging him to persevere despite overwhelming odds. Their support and friendship help Luffy stay resilient and inspire each other to grow and reach their potential. By intentionally curating his crew, Luffy creates an environment that nurtures confidence, resilience, and determination, ultimately propelling him towards his dream of finding the One Piece and becoming the Pirate King. On the other hand, imagine the path of someone who remains entrenched in a toxic social environment, constantly surrounded by negativity, criticism, and doubt. It becomes increasingly challenging for them to break free from negative thoughts and self-doubt when those patterns are continuously reinforced by their social influences. So, how can we apply this Stoic wisdom to our own lives? Here are some practical tips. 1. Evaluate your current social circle. Identify the individuals who uplift and encourage you, as well as those who perpetuate negative thought patterns. 2. Gradually limit exposure to toxic influences while nurturing and prioritizing relationships with positive, supportive people. 3. Seek out communities, groups, or mentors aligned with your values and goals, as they can provide a powerful source of inspiration and motivation. 4. Be mindful of the energy you bring to your relationships. Strive to positively influence others, just as you seek positivity from them. Remember, as Epictetus taught, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. By intentionally surrounding ourselves with positive influences, we create an environment conducive to overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt and embracing our full potential. It's a journey that requires conscious effort and discernment. Still, the rewards are invaluable. A greater sense of confidence, resilience, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with the support and encouragement of those who believe in us. Gratitude and contentment. Stoic philosophy's core lies in a profound understanding of the power of gratitude and contentment. These principles serve as potent antidotes to the negative thought patterns and self-doubt that can quickly consume us in our modern, fast-paced lives. As Marcus Aurelius eloquently stated, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours." These words encapsulate the essence of gratitude, the practice of actively appreciating and savoring the blessings we already possess rather than constantly yearning for more. By cultivating gratitude, we shift our focus away from perceived deficiencies and scarcity and instead embrace the abundance surrounding us. Imagine the weight lifted from your shoulders if you genuinely appreciate and feel grateful for all the positive aspects of your life, rather than fixating on what you lack or wish you had. The Stoics understood that this shift in perspective could profoundly impact our mental and emotional well-being. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "It is in no man's power to have whatever he wants, but he has it in his power not to wish for what he hasn't got, and cheerfully make the most of the things that do come his way." These words remind us that true contentment does not come from constantly acquiring more, but from cultivating a sense of sufficiency and appreciating what we already have. By embracing this mindset, we can break free from the endless desire and dissatisfaction that fuels so much of our negative self-talk and self-doubt. To put this into practice, let's engage in a brief gratitude exercise. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Now, consider 3 aspects of your life that you are truly grateful for. Perhaps your health, a loving relationship, or a cherished memory. Allow yourself to fully savor and appreciate these blessings, feeling the warmth of gratitude spread through your being. As you open your eyes, notice the subtle shift in your perspective. Do you feel lighter, more present, and less burdened by negative thoughts or self-doubt? This is the transformative power of gratitude and contentment. Acceptance and letting go. Closely intertwined with the principles of gratitude and contentment is the Stoic practice of acceptance and letting go. Epictetus wisely advised, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." These words highlight a profound truth. Much of our suffering and negative thought patterns stem from our resistance to how things are and our attachment to how we believe they should be. By accepting reality as it unfolds without judgment or resistance, we can cultivate a sense of inner peace and freedom from negative thoughts and self-doubt. Consider the example of a student who has worked tirelessly to prepare for a critical exam only to receive a disappointing result. Suppose they cling to the expectation of a different outcome. In that case, they will likely spiral into a cycle of negative self-talk, doubt, and rumination. However, they can embrace the Stoic principle of acceptance. In that case, they can acknowledge the reality of the situation without judgment or self-criticism. They can redirect their energy towards constructive next steps, rather than dwelling on what cannot be changed. This principle was embodied by Marcus Aurelius, who faced numerous challenges and adversities during his reign as Roman emperor. In his famous Meditations, he wrote, "How ridiculous and strange to be surprised at anything which happens in life." These words reflect a deep understanding of the impermanence and unpredictability of life, a recognition that resistance and clinging to expectations only breed suffering. By accepting the ebb and flow of circumstances with equanimity, Marcus Aurelius navigated even the most tumultuous times with grace and wisdom. The Stoics understood that true freedom lies in letting go of our resistance and accepting what is, rather than constantly battling against reality. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "Nothing happens to anybody which he is not fitted by nature to bear." Consider a situation you have resisted or struggled to accept. To put this principle into practice, take a few deep breaths and consciously let go of your resistance, embracing the reality of the situation without judgment or self-criticism. Notice how this simple acceptance can alleviate the burden of negative thoughts and self-doubt. By releasing the need to control or change the uncontrollable, you create space for inner peace, clarity, and the ability to respond with wisdom and equanimity. By embracing the Stoic practices of acceptance and letting go, we can cultivate the inner freedom to navigate life's challenges with resilience, grace, and a profound sense of inner peace. Self-reflection and growth. While the Stoic teachings provide potent tools for dealing with negative thoughts and self-doubt in the present moment, these ancient philosophers understood that lasting transformation requires a more profound commitment to self-reflection and personal growth. As Epictetus wisely advised, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your failings. He will grow better for being reproved, and you better yourself by this wholesome exercise." These words highlight the profound value of self-reflection, the practice of turning our gaze inward, examining our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with honesty and courage. Through this process, we can identify areas for growth, confront our blind spots, and cultivate the self-awareness necessary for lasting personal development. Imagine for a moment a scenario where you made a mistake or experienced a setback that triggered a wave of negative self-talk and self-doubt. Instead of wallowing in these thoughts or projecting blame onto external factors, the Stoic approach would be to engage in radical self-reflection. Ask yourself probing questions. What role did my own actions or assumptions play in this outcome? What lessons can I learn from this experience? How can I approach similar situations with greater wisdom and resilience in the future? By adopting this mindset of self-reflection and growth, we shift our perspective from self-criticism and stagnation to empowerment and continuous improvement. The Stoics understood that personal growth is not a linear journey, but a cyclical process of self-reflection, learning, and implementation. It requires a willingness to confront our shortcomings and embrace challenges as opportunities for growth rather than sources of self-doubt and negativity. One powerful example of this principle in action is the life story of Epictetus himself. Born into slavery and subjected to numerous hardships, Epictetus could have easily succumbed to bitterness, resentment, and self-pity. However, he chose a path of radical self-reflection and personal growth. Epictetus developed a profound understanding of the human condition and the path to inner freedom through his unwavering commitment to examining his thoughts, beliefs, and actions. His teachings resonated for centuries and are a testament to the transformative power of self-reflection and growth. To cultivate this practice in your life, start by setting aside dedicated time for self-reflection, whether through journaling, meditation, or simply creating space for quiet contemplation. During these moments, ask yourself probing questions about your thoughts, beliefs, and actions, and approach your self-inquiry with curiosity and compassion. When you inevitably encounter moments of failure, setback, or negative self-talk, use them as opportunities for growth. Resist the urge to indulge in self-criticism or blame. Instead, turn your attention inward. Explore the lessons to be learned, the blind spots to be illuminated, and the steps to approach similar situations with greater wisdom and resilience. Remember, as Epictetus taught, seek not the good in external things. Seek it in yourselves. By committing to the Stoic practice of self-reflection and growth, you unlock the key to overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt from the inside out. It is a journey that requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to confront your limitations with humility and curiosity. But the rewards are immeasurable. A more profound sense of self-awareness, resilience, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and grace. Stoic quotes about negative thoughts and self-doubt. The ancient Stoic philosophers left us a treasure trove of wisdom for dealing with negative thoughts and self-doubt. Let's explore some of their most powerful insights. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius. Our thoughts shape our reality. By changing our thoughts, we can change our experience of life. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. Our suffering comes not from external events, but our judgments about them, which we can change. How ridiculous and unrealistic is the man who is astonished at anything that happens in life. Marcus Aurelius. There is no need to be shocked or disturbed by life's inevitable challenges and setbacks. Acceptance is key. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Our persistent thoughts profoundly influence our state of being. Negative thoughts breed negativity. It is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things. Epictetus. Events themselves are neutral. Our interpretations cause us distress or inner peace. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Epictetus. Happiness comes from focusing our energy on what we can control, not the uncontrollable. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. We cannot always control circumstances, but we can control our responses to them. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Epictetus. Our perspective, not external events, is the trustworthy source of our inner turmoil or peace. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. Epictetus. Acceptance, not resistance, is the path to tranquility. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Seneca. Our pessimistic forecasts often cause more suffering than reality itself. Nothing happens to anybody which he is not fitted by nature to bear. Marcus Aurelius. We have the innate resilience to withstand whatever life brings our way. Remove the judgment, and you have removed the thought, "I am hurt," and the hurt itself is gone. Marcus Aurelius. It is our judgments that create our suffering, not circumstances themselves. Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We've been using them not because we needed them, but because we had them. Seneca. These words encapsulate the essence of the Stoic approach, the recognition that true freedom and fulfillment arise not from external circumstances or possessions, but from the cultivation of our inner resources, resilience, and alignment with our deepest values. Internalizing these Stoic teachings allows us to rewire our minds, question our negative thought patterns, and cultivate a more resilient, empowered mindset. The path to overcoming self-doubt lies in changing our perspectives and reactions, not controlling the uncontrollable. Remember, the journey towards overcoming negative thoughts and self-doubt is not a destination, but a continuous practice, a lifelong commitment to personal growth, self-reflection, and the pursuit of a life well lived.